When my father went bankrupt and my mother filed for divorce, my sister quickly pledged loyalty to him. In my past life, I chose to stay and care for my bankrupt father who became wealthy only to be killed by my sister Reborn. I happily let her choose our father so she could experience those debt-ridden days. After Dad declared bankruptcy, Mom started to demand a divorce. I stayed out of it, watching as my sister shoved me aside and ran to Dad, saying, "Dad, don't be sad, I'll stay with you." In my previous life, after our parents divorced, my sister went with our wealthy mom while I stayed with our bankrupt dad. But then Mom remarried a jerk, lost everything, and ended up with nothing. My sister suffered too. Meanwhile, Dad's business flourished and he became a tycoon. Jealous of my success, my sister arranged a reunion that resulted in my fatal car accident. Now we've been transported back to the day our parents finalized their divorce at City Hall. This time with a smirk, my sister declared, "I love Dad, I want to stay with him." Little did she know I was even happier inside. I refused to live that life of hiding and dodging again. When my sister clung to Dad's arm, acting all sweet. "Dad, please let me stay with you. You are my favorite, and I am not afraid of a little hardship." Seeing his usually spoiled daughter say this moved Dad deeply. He didn't notice Mom standing nearby with a scowl. "No way, Amy will suffer with you. I have to take her with me," Mom insisted. My sister would struggle with Dad. But what about me? My parents were fiercely fighting over my sister's custody as if I didn't exist. In the end, they couldn't change my sister's mind about staying with Dad, so Mom reluctantly picked me. I got into my stepdad's luxury car with Mom. My sister skipped away, holding Dad's hand before leaving. She shot me a taunting look. I didn't care. After all, Mom was wealthy now and Dad's situation was a mess in my past life. Dad and I spent every day hiding from debt collectors. I couldn't concentrate on my studies. His career failure and Mom's departure devastated him. He gave up, drank heavily in a dingy apartment, and ignored everything. Despite being a top student, I couldn't afford tuition and had to drop out to support us. We came from the same womb, but my sister was luckier. She was pretty and knew how to charm our parents who adored her. Being younger, they expected me as her older sister to concede to her. Even during the divorce, they only wanted her. But in this life, she chose Dad, letting him boast in front of Mom in the car. Mom started berating me. "You've always been plain and unlikable. We're going to live with Uncle Ryan now, so don't embarrass me." It's laughable. What kind of mother says such things about her own daughter? But whatever, the car rolled into the upscale villa district. I knew my stepfather was rich, but I didn't know he was this rich. He got me into the city's best private school. A driver picked me up and dropped me off every day to make up for having dropped out in my past life. I studied hard. I ranked in the top 3 every year. Mom, who usually ignored me, was eager to attend my parent-teacher meetings. She loved being envied by other parents and praised as an excellent parent by teachers. Since my stepfather had no children of his own, I thrived in this household. I even started planning to study abroad. Kids shouldn't think about going abroad. Don't think you can do anything just because you are a top student. My mom snapped before my stepfather could speak. Later, I realized you don't need a reason to dislike someone, even between a mother and daughter. 2. My stepfather wasn't as Mom and my sister described him in the past. Unpredictable, domineering, and violent. I found him intelligent but proud and self-respecting. Their conflict surfaced soon after we moved in. One was a total pretty face with no brains. Honestly, she and Dad were a perfect match. Dad, a true rich heir, was always simple-minded and physically strong. He married Mom because of his brute force and money. When my grandparents were alive, they supported him after they passed. Dad got dragged into investments by his foolish friends, losing everything he and my grandparents had. Mom quickly found someone else and divorced him. My study abroad plans were halted by Mom's opposition, but with my grades I could easily get into a top school in the country.